What I'd like to do in a series of videos is go over some demonstrations of how to use some of the functions of Moodle, as well as to use the piece of software that I'm using here called Screencast-O-Matic. I'll get to it later when we get to these things. Where I am right now is at a Moodle site, getting ready to log in. I have not logged in yet, so this is what is chosen here. When we go down here, we can look and see the site news, a number of different things that are available publicly to the system. We have course categories here. We can click on these things and see a list of courses in each of these categories. This site's set up so that you can't actually get into any of the courses until you actually have logged on. You can't register for them on your own. So with that, I have my username here, and I'll put my password in if I can get it right, and we'll attempt to log in here. When we get into the site, over here on the left hand side we have a navigation bar. This one has got an add-in called Starfish, which helps with student tracking, student retention, the ability to get better visibility of what's going on with the system. When we go into here, we have administration front page settings, and these are the settings that we're going to see on our front page. So we could go in here, and depending upon what kind of authority you have, these things are going to look a little bit different. When we go in here, we can look at, and let's look at my profile settings. Edit profile. When we go into edit profile, the username, probably not going to want to change because this one is authenticating through an LDAP server, which means it actually is authenticating through Active Directory. New password, you could give that a shot. Force password change. Got my name, my email address. Email display, allow only course members to see my email address. We can allow everyone, or you can hide your email address. As an instructor, you probably don't want to hide your email address. Email digest type, no digest, single email per forum post. You can also you can get the digest instead of getting the forum posts themselves. Auto describe, preferred language. Time zone should always be the server's local time, because when we get into making some other things like quizzes, if you want to allow them to be available only during certain times of the day, the time zone has to be correct. Use a picture. You can upload an avatar picture that will be associated with your user account, and then you can go in here if you have interest in some other optional things. You have a web page, Skype ID, AIM ID, Yahoo ID, different things that would allow you to share so that your students could be able to contact you more readily. When you get done with that, we'll update the profile. Didn't change anything. Hopefully I didn't change anything when I got there. So we could go back. The other place we can look here is to view messages, to look and see if we have any messages. And then the advanced tab of this allows us to search for persons. You can search for people, users, students only in your own courses or on the entire system. Back to navigation messages, my private files. You have storage area here where you can upload private files, and later on we'll look at how you can share those private files should you want to do that. But you can create folders, you can upload files to here, add, create, you can download them all. We have the files, so we do have an area that allows us to do those things. The other thing we can go in here is my courses. When I click on it, I get a list of my courses. The other way to get there is my home, and my home gives me the ability to see fewer than all of them. I've got some of them listed here, and it says that I have 21 hidden courses. I have a number of courses. If I wanted to change that, I can go over here and customize this page and go to the drop down and specify how many courses that I wanted to see here. so we can limit this, and having played with this, the fewer courses that you display, the quicker it's going to load. This then allows us to get directly into the locations where we want to go. With that, I've made a course, had a course made. Actually, I made it because I can do that, called demonstration. We're going to go in here and click in. This is what you would typically find if you have a brand new course with no content. When we get here, we just got stuff. We can turn editing on and off. If it says turn editing off, editing is on over here. We can also, in the administration, turn editing on and off. The first thing I think I would like to do is go into look at the edit settings of this course. The course name, demonstration, can change that if you have the authority to change that. The course category, visible, whether you want to show it or hide it. And this is a functionality that is useful whenever you have a lot of courses that you use them for a while, then you don't use them for a while, and then you come back to them. You can leave the courses there, just make them not visible so that users aren't trying to get into them. Course start date, if we went back to the course, if you remember, actually we'll go back to the course, demo. Here we have dates, a lot of different dates. We go from the 19th of December to the 26th of February. So if I go back to this thing and edit settings again, then I see that I have a course start date of 19th of December 2013. So that's when that one started. We can change that to whatever we want the start date to be. I'm going to go ahead and open expand all here. That expands all of these configuration areas down here below. The reason that it starts there is the course format. The course format here is weekly. We have some options here. Social format's a great big discussion. A SCORM format if you're going to use a SCORM course. The other option here is topics format. The topics format won't put the dates in for us. It just gives us the number of topics and the number of sections. If 10's too many, we can do fewer, and since I'm just going to use this as a demo, let's go in and let's put in like 3 actually let's put in four of these guys, so we'll have 4 topics. Hidden sections, hide sections. Hidden sections are shown as collapsed form, or hidden sections are completely invisible. Hidden sections if we don't want the students to see them quite at that time. The course layout, we can show all the sections in one page or so, one section per page. We'll look at that. The language, show grade book. The default is yes, so that the students can see what they're doing. Maximum file upload size, that's going to vary depending on how your system is set up. 200 meg. This is the biggest file that students are allowed to upload. This one says completion tracking, enable completion tracking, yes, and I think that's where you want to be, or yes and no is the option. And I'll show you what that means here in just a minute. Group mode, no groups. Going to have separate groups or visible groups. This would be something that you would use if you had like a day class and a night class and you want to keep them separate for grading purposes, separate for assignment purposes. Just keep them separate, so we can use separate groups there if we want to. And let's do that so we can create groups a little bit later and show how to use them. So we have a course name, the short course name, the category that it's in, the start date, and a number of things that we've done. We could put a course description on here. This is my demo course. Give users an idea of what the course is all about. With that, we save the changes. And once we save the changes, we go back here and we have these topics instead of the weekly dates that we had earlier. The thing that I want to stop here is this and say that this, well, let's look at a little bit more at administration. Activity chooser, edit settings, of course completion, a number of things that you may or may not use. Outcomes, badges, backup is something that you may use. Once you get the course built, you're probably going to want to make a backup of it, and we'll go through and do a backup a little bit later. Question bank for tests, and we'll look at tests and quizzes, and we'll look at how to do that here and import and export those things in a couple of minutes. switch role. If you've done something and you want to see what the student sees, you can go in here and tell it that you want to be a student. We haven't done anything yet. We'll look at that a little bit later. And then we have the my profile settings. Site administration you're probably not going to have unless you're a site. You're not going to have unless you're a site administrator. Back to navigation, we can do my courses or courses. You can view all courses. Go down and we break this thing up into the categories, and this is broken up into different areas. And now I'm back to the beginning here. I'm still logged in because it gives me the ability to log out. So I can go back to my navigation, my home, and once I get to my home, I can go back to my demonstration course. Things that we'll look at as we go through this thing on the right hand side, recent activity, what we can and can't do with those things, and some things that may or may not be useful. I think on that I'm going to stop this one, and we'll go on and in the next video put some content into the course. Thank you for watching.